Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Frankie and Ding Dong Show. I am your host, Frankie Aberlon. Tonight, King Ding Dong's actually on the road in Indianapolis for Junior Gold. His daughter, Brooke, is actually bowling out there. So I am going to be flying solo this evening, but not exactly solo because I got a really special guest with you guys tonight. Pretty excited for this. We have one of the fantastic bowlers in the PBA Tour history, PBA Hall of Famer, 2008, 2009 PBA Player of the Year, three-time Elias Cup champion, two-time Mark Roth MVP, has bowled 2 televised 300 games, 10-time titleist, has won a major, was the king of bowling for 10 years. I am obviously talking about the great Wes Malott. Wes, welcome into the show. We are super excited to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, Frankie. Appreciate it.
All right, excellent. So, Wes, talking about your career here a little bit and kind of how are things looking for you right now and how are you feeling and where are you at right now?
Well, as you can see, I'm in the car. It's a very, very, very busy time. I'll just say in our lives. I mean, just so much going on. You mentioned Ding Dong's down in Indianapolis. I mean, I just came from there. Our oldest son Jordan bowled the U20 event, and then I'll be back down there all next week as well, because our middle son Camden will get back from he's off at a church raft camp or raft trip right now. He'll get back on Sunday, so he's going to miss all the practice, and then Sunday night, my fiance Sarah will take him down because I got to go to the LBC up in Milwaukee. So, and then from there, she's got to go to Nashville for a trade show. And then, I mean, we're everywhere. But right now, we're actually at a county fair. We have most people don't know this, but we have started off as like a pet about a year and a half ago at Christmas. We got Maggie a bunny for Christmas. Okay. And then it's turned into, okay, we'll show the bunny at the county fair. Well, this bunny ended up winning, not only best in breed, she won the entire thing, best in show. So now we have 4 bunnies. Well, we're at a different county fair. We're not showing this week, but the people that we got the bunny from, the Millers, this is the county show that they are at. So we definitely come support them. And, it's a good learning experience for the kids too. So that's where we're at. I was able to pull away, luckily have good enough service to be able to have the show with you guys. But I mean, just lots. I mean, now kind of on to me a little bit, where you asked me kind of how I'm feeling, what's going on. I know prior you mentioned the post that was made on the Facebook page, and 46, almost 47 years old, and body is definitely starting to take a little toll, and a lot of things going on. I mean, as most of you probably know, the back injury that I had this year, early on in the year, the second event of the season. And, I kept kind of going. I would hit the majors here and there when I could. Was still in 14-pound equipment just to try and get through. Some events I still had to withdraw from just because it didn't make sense to keep trying to get through it. So just trying to, I hate withdrawing, but I had to do what the body told me to do and try and make the most of the season. If I was out, unfortunately, I just tried to, I had to try and get the body some rest, and that's exactly what we did. And I can happily tell you that the back has felt a lot better. I'm back throwing 15 pounds, and the only thing I was really struggling with the back is it was definitely tight in the morning, but I think it was probably a sciatic nerve that was catching from my right side all the way down my leg. But the last week or so, again, into the post, and I don't know if this was part of help. I'm sure it definitely was part of it, but getting back on the bike and riding the bike, and that just, loosens things up and gets things moving. Still seeing chiropractors, still doing everything I can to try and help it. And, but for the last probably 4 or 5 days, that sciatic isn't bothering me as well. So, this has been a long road. I mean, this has been going on since February. So we're 5-6 months in, and this is definitely, I've had back issues my entire career. I used to work at FedEx before I came out on tour. And that's where the injury originally started. But every now and then it might flare up, but usually a couple of weeks and it's kind of goes away. This one, This one's hung on the longest of all, so it's definitely time to take a little bit better care of myself, and especially if I'm going to continue to do this. And that's kind of where we're at. I mean, I've had to, you just kind of have to swallow that pill that's tough to swallow, and you got to be better for yourself, and that's where we're at.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to hear that you're on the mend, and hopefully, better things to come physically in the future. You've been obviously one of my favorite Pro Bowlers for a long time, a Hall of Famer, all the accolades. You deserve it. Right behind me, we got that Lumberjacks jersey, and three-time defending champions. Is that something that you're hopefully looking forward to, coming back and maybe get a fourth title up here in Portland?
Well, it's kind of funny. Obviously, Timmy's down in Indianapolis. We talked a little bit last week, and then we'll talk more. But we're on the drive to the fair tonight, and Jordan made a comment. He goes, "Is Timmy putting you into the pool?"
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, with some of the great players that we have, and as good as Packy did over the entire year and last year for us at the league, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's hard to. And then Arturo, I mean, all of us. I mean, it's tough, but the core three and I say core three now. With Chris coming in after Simonelli kind of decided to retire for a little while, and then he came back. But that was so now it's myself and Kyle Troop and Chris Prather. I mean, that's kind of the core of the team. And I'll tell you, and the reason why Jordan had said something to me is, I guess Barnes and Stu had said something on their show or whatever. And if you look at stuff, I mean, I get it, but I don't know. All I can say is Timmy said, and he said it a million times last week, there's only one franchise. Mm-hmm. That's Timmy's word. He's put that label on me. And I'm super stoked and ready to be back. I don't know why I performed so well in that environment and that setting. I mean, just the team stuff. I don't know if it's just because I don't want to let anybody down, and it makes me rise to that next level. And I try and be, the best leader I can be to all of those guys, and not only all those guys. I mean, we're in Portland or Portland, Maine. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get in trouble for that, but we're in Portland, Maine, and those guys up there they're just a blast.
Yeah.
And I love them, they love me, and as long as I can keep going, Timmy says I'm there. So he says I'm there until I tell him I'm done. So that's just a huge honor. Very humbled to hear something like that, because I could easily be one of the guys out, but it's just like you said. I mean, it's a franchise thing. I've been branded with that team since Portland, since Charlie Mitchell stepped in and took over that team and has created what it's created. So again, just a huge honor to even be considered and be a part of that team, and then to be considered the franchise and have the all the credits that I have bowling in that event, and not only that event, that venue. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. We are too. And I was just at Bayside last night bowling a tournament for our draft league, just a spur of the moment type thing comes up, and I'm hanging out with Arturo. We were talking a lot last night, and we kind of take it for granted. We get the bowl league at Bayside, and people come and you see the awe on their face when they first step into this building. And I never take it for granted. It is basically, it's like the mecca of bowling, kind of what I call it. And you're a huge part of that. The Lumberjacks being the three-time champions. So definitely don't undersell anything you guys have ever done. It is phenomenal. It is basically, to me, helped springboard the PBA league into what it is now. And we're really looking forward to that coming up this year. So pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely. It's definitely, if you talk to people and are like, oh, is Portland really what it's all made up to be? It absolutely is. If you ever have a chance to go, it's definitely the event I would say go. I know there's a kid that I met bowling junior gold this past week. He lives up in Portland, and they're actually going to go for the first time this year.
Okay.
So I'm stoked to see those guys and be able to, show them that type of thing. There's another kid that's reached out to me from, I want to say Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to take him to that venue and do that. A kid that has, trying to remember, what sickness or that he has that, to deal with, and for him to reach out and look up to me, and if it's something that I could do to brighten that kid's life,
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely the place I would encourage Tim to go. I mean, to be able to experience that environment, it's just like no other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone should be able to experience that at least once. And talking about kind of giving back and doing stuff on the lanes and off the lanes, you're going to be up here for that Bowl with the Pros event, September 21st, Sparetime Recreation in Augusta, Maine.
Yep.
That was kind of put together by Sean Rash. And talk about that and how you kind of got involved with that. And we're pretty excited to see something like that come up here. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that. And kind of what are you looking forward to with that event?
Well, yeah, I mean, Sean's great with organizing events, and I've done, many events with Sean. And so he's great with getting things set up. And when he reached out to me about this event and kind of told me what the plan was and all that, I mean, I couldn't say yes fast enough,
Mm-hmm.
for multiple reasons, So, yeah, really looking forward to coming to Sparetime and spending that day prior to going down to Portland and doing the event. So, I think it's just going to be a fun event no matter what. you know that's what we always try and make it. And if you learn a little something along the way, that's kind of a bonus to me
Mm-hmm.
for events like this. I mean, when you're able to get you know 10 professionals together, that's kind of what it's about. I mean, it's, if you want to say, it's a super glorified pro-am in a way, to where you get to kind of hang out and rub shoulders and do whatever. I mean, we're about as relaxed and easygoing as you can kind of get. And events like this, I mean, I'm doing another one in August up in New York.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of like league appreciation or
Mm-hmm.
customer appreciation event, and to bring that many guys in, it's just, like I said, it's just a fun time, because we feed off of each other, we bounce off of each other, do things, joke with each other, and then obviously, the fans or the people interact with us as well, and they get in mix, and it's just a good time. So really looking forward to another event like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done events with Sean before when we did the mini camps up here a couple of different years, and he does a great job organizing that stuff. And when he asked us to get involved with promoting the event, we jumped right on board with it because I've known Sean a long time, and it's really cool to see that. You see people. Good example, just from one of the camps many years ago. We had a gentleman go to the camp, never shot an honor score in his life, learned some things at the camp, shot his first 300 the very next time out on league. He was so excited. He's bowled his whole life. So it's really cool to see stuff like that. And just, that's the stuff we like to see, people getting, I mean, not, you don't have to shoot a 300, but, someone might shoot their best game they've ever shot, or best series, or just hang out with someone that they've idolized their whole life. That's just great stuff. And that's memories that you can only get being at the camps and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, as you probably know, I own and operate a pro shop here now in Fort Wayne. I used to have two in Texas that I was partnered with there. So that I tell my customers all the time, or people that come in, I mean, what I get out of being in the pro shop business, do I do it to make money? Of course. I mean, I can't do it. I can't donate that much time for nothing. So absolutely, I do it to make money. But what the main reason why I do it, one, it's to give back to a sport that's just been so good to me. But exactly what you say there, to get those messages saying, oh, you drove me those balls, I've shot 3 700s in a row, or I've shot my first 600 or my first 200, or just to know that you can help somebody out like that. That's, I mean, to see the joy in their face. Matter of fact, right when I got in the car a while ago, there's a girl that bowls in Huntington, JC Smith. She's down in Indianapolis right now, and her coach, her coach sent me a picture and just sent me a picture of both of them. They said, we're representing in Indianapolis. They both have Malott's Bowler's Den shirts on. And that just gives me chills just to know that you have people supporting you and representing and doing all this stuff. That's what it's about. There's just nothing better than that feeling to me.
All right, we have some comments coming in. I'm just going to put a few of them up on the screen. Del Picard was asking, where in New York are you going to be? You said you were going to be doing an event there. Whereabouts is that?
It's about an hour south of Syracuse. I forget the actual town name. I would have to get off and look at all my stuff to find it, but it's about an hour south of Syracuse, I believe.
Okay, excellent. We had some people saying that they can't wait. Michaela McIntyre can't wait to be at the event on the 21st.
Yeah.
We had Jim Griffin commenting, it's always great to see pros and legends like Wes Malott getting involved with other young bowlers and kids who look up to them. 100% agree with that.
For sure.
Yeah, so I put the information on the bottom of the screen for people. There's a limited number of entries available there's like going to be a drawing. People can get in, and then the ones that win that kind of pool drawing can then pay their entry to get into the event. So I put the information up for people to go ahead and register. If you go on SparetimeRec.com, you can get to the Bowl with the Pros section. You can just copy that direct link I have on the screen, and you can get right there to register. So I definitely encourage everyone. I'm not sure what the cutoff is for that registration, but I know it's active now. I actually checked it right before we went on the air, so people can still get in and register for that. And I definitely encourage you to get in and do it.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's going to be a good time. And while, I don't know how many people you possibly reach, but I don't know that it really matters. I just want to throw this out there. And honestly, I'm sorry, I don't even really know exactly what the format is for the Sparetime Recreation in Portland, or just north of Portland.
Mm-hmm.
The event there on September, but I went to Korea recently, and this isn't to tell anybody how to do their thing. I'm just from an experience. This was a great event. I had a blast. It made 6 hours feel like it was maybe an hour to me.
Yep.
That's how much fun we had. But the reason what brought this to my mind is you mentioned it's a draw to be able to get into this event. That's exactly what it was in Korea. They had over 1,000 entries, put their names in to be a part of this event. Only 42 people were able to partake in the event. So the bowling center has 14 lanes. So 7 pair. We had 7 professionals that were there. Each pair had 6 bowlers, including the professional.
Oh, wow.
There were 3 males and 3 females on every pair. So we did an hour of kind of hanging out, mingling, coaching, evaluating for the first hour. The second hour was 10 minutes of one-on-one lessons with each player. And then we took a break for lunch for 30 minutes. And then we did an autograph session for 30 minutes. Then after that, the 3 women and the professional bowled 1 full game.
Okay.
And then obviously total pins. And then they bowled 1 Baker game. So now you have 5 total games. We did the exact same thing with the men. So now you have 10 total games. After 10 games, they gave away prizes depending on where you finished.
Oh, cool.
Then they ended up having a bonus match where just the professionals bowled, and the highest game won their team another bowling ball.
Oh,
so
wow.
it was just a really fun event because it took probably 6 hours to do all that, but it felt like no time. It was very meaningful, but also very fun, and nothing drug out, so just a really good event. So just maybe, like I say, maybe something that people can kind of feed off of if they're looking to do an event. I thought it was an absolute great format, something that I try and spread the word every time I do it, just because it was so good.
Absolutely. And Wes, I have you covered with information. It's actually going across the screen right now. It's $150. There's approximately 2 hours of coaching from the pros. There's a dinner and a mixer, then a 3-game 9-pin no-tap tournament. It does say the dinner is optional. You can do the pizza buffet, or you can purchase that before the day of the event, but a lot of cool stuff going on there. So it's a really cool format, and it should be a lot of fun at Sparetime Augusta. So it's a 24-lane center, really nice place. They do a good job keeping it up, and I think it'll be a good time. And I did see that the pros that have been announced so far, Obviously, we have Sean and yourself, Marshall Kent, Matt Ogle, Andrew Anderson, and Jacob Buttra. So it's a great lineup of pros coming up so far.
Oh yeah, and there's more to come.
Yeah.
More to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait. You know, Sean's been announcing them like one a week basically. So we're pretty excited to see who's going to be next upcoming. So really excited for that. And so Wes, talking about yourself a little bit, let's get into the King of the Lanes there. It was awesome. You were basically King of the Lanes for like a decade, right? And you defended, what was it, 8 or 9 times on television? Is that correct? Or am I incorrect in that assumption?
It kind of got drug out for a little while. I mean, the first one, obviously, in 2009, because of, I was the number 1 seed being player of the year that year. And they took 11 players and basically, 10th and 11th bowled each other. The winner bowled 9, and the 9th went on to the next show, which would have been 7 and 8 bowled each other. And then the winner bowled, the winner of the previous show, which they kind of did something somewhat similar to that here a couple years ago. But, how I ended up sweeping that, mind-boggling to me. What's funny is we actually, that year, I was able to pick what lane pattern I wanted for each show. Okay. So it was, at first I was like, all right, strategizing. Well, if Parker's on the show, guess what? I'm not going to bowl on Cheetah. That wasn't happening. But the first event, I decided to pull Scorpion out. I mean, I know I bowled well on Scorpion that year, and and then when you bowl really good and have a great look, and how do you go away from it? And so I just bowled on Scorpion, and I picked Scorpion every show, and just rolled with the tide, and that's just amazing how that happened. But and then to go on, they kept trying to throw an event together with, once it was Jason, I know once was and once actually we did it in Portland, was EJ, I believe, and Belmo, and then they threw Belmo at me again, and but for whatever reason it just wasn't happening. Yeah. And so then the new series they put on, like I said, a year or two ago, was a little different, and that's kind of when I got taken down, if you want to say. So I would love for them to do something like that every year, and I would love to be a part of it. At this point, now kind of being defeated, and unless I do something, spectacular in a season like I did, back in what I would say is kind of my prime. I don't know that I would ever be a part of it, but I would absolutely love to be a part of it. For sure. And it's no different. The Royal, the family edition that we did with the kids, what kind of stunk with me, I mean, yeah, we lost, but Jordan was sick that entire day, so I don't think he got to enjoy it. So I would love to do that again, just so he would be able to get to experience at its fullest and be able to enjoy it a lot more than what he was able to.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely makes a difference when you're feeling better. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. So the 2 300 games you threw, was that both in the King of the Lanes events? Were those both in that, or? It
was. Both of those. One was against Parker, I believe, and then the other one was against Walter Ray.
Oh, wow. That's against a couple of legends right there. That's great.
For sure. Yeah, it's probably arguably definitely top 2 righties and top 2 lefties of all time right there.
Absolutely. Well, if you have a couple minutes, we got some questions and comments coming in for some viewers if you want.
Sure.
Delpa Card commented and says, what does Wes think about the new PBA rule about balls having to be, well, I think it's no older than 2 years old, but I think it's actually going to be August 1st, correct? Is going to be the rule? Is that how that's going to be?
No, you might be thinking of another rule, but they just released a new rule to where it's going to be January 6th when this rule goes into place. Mm-hmm. First and foremost is urethane.
Right.
It's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
They're requiring all urethane balls to be a hardness of 78, and to where previously I believe it was 73. Mm-hmm. So now they have to be 78. So it's right. I'm not big on urethane anyway. My kind of I don't want to say argument, but my comparison with this is if you look at reactive balls, you have specs that you have to meet within USBC and PBA. PBA kind of follows.
Right.
First of all, the oil absorption can only be so fast. The RG value can only be so low, and the differential value can only be so high. Why is that? Because now we're putting 30 mils of oil out on a lane, and these bowling balls are sponges and just take the oil off the lane and they tear the lane up. Well, urethane, we have no specs on them. This is the first time we've changed specs. And this is probably because this is part of how they're going to try and control it. Urethane tears up the lane just as bad, if not worse, in my opinion, because you're using 500 or 1,000 grit on it. So you're tearing up the front part of the lane. But then you're also taking the oil down the lane and carrying the oil down the lane and chewing it. So it's kind of a double whammy in a way. You're chewing up the fronts with all the surface, but then you're making them extremely tight down lane, and it affects the level of play,
right?
And completely changes the pattern drastically. And I think that's kind of what they really want to do is control how much the pattern is getting chewed up. Back in the day when we threw urethane, back in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, you're bowling on less than 10 mils of oils. Well, now we're bowling on somewhere between 20 and 30. So 2 and 3 times the amount of oil, and urethane is just, so I think that's the purpose for that, is to try and control that a little bit. The other rule that they're putting in place, which is what the urethane rule was last year, it could only be a urethane ball made within the last 2 years. So that's what they're going to do with all bowling balls now on the PBA tour, is it has to be made within the last 2 years of rolling. So, I mean, just the start of the season. So like this year, it'll be 2024. Well, it's going to have to be a ball that was made anytime in 2022 that you can be able to use. So prime example, I like the IQ Tour Pearl, the gold ball.
I was going to ask you about that.
I'm not going to be able to use the gold ball anymore. So, and in a way it kind of stinks, but at the same time, it makes total sense, because the manufacturers that pay us to throw their bowling balls, now we're going to have to throw bowling balls that are new. So that's, they pay us to try and help sell bowling balls. So if we're throwing new ones, we should help the sales even a little bit more to some extent. I don't know that it's extremely drastic. The main thing is that I think a lot of people probably agree with, including manufacturers, as long as you're branded with a company, that's going to be the main important reason to be able to try and help sell bowling balls. I mean, people know I've been with Rotogrip since 2008, and they throw Rotogrip because I throw Rotogrip. It doesn't really matter if I'm throwing a ball that was made, the brand new ball, or if it was a ball that I threw that was made 8 years ago. They look up to me because of the image that I've created and the career that I put together, and how sociable I am with people and stuff like that. And people look up to me for that, and therefore they support me and the brand that I support. And that's, to me, I think is probably the biggest thing. And I think a lot of manufacturers would agree with that as well. So, but I think this will help possibly control a little bit of the play. And so I commend the PBA for stepping up and making that decision. And I do believe USBC will follow. They need to do their studies and stuff before they need their data to back up their studies before they can make that call as well.
For sure, yeah. So we talked about the new urethane rule and the other new rules last week on the show. We touched on it for a good 20 minutes or so. One of my comments about it was, and I'm talking to you about this now, can you foresee basically them saying, no surface grits less than 1,000 or anything going forward? Because I feel like with the 78 hardness on the urethanes, that guys might be hitting them with 360 pads now to get them to kind of pick up a little bit or anything. Even some of the, I mean, obviously resins can be, high, you can sand them too. But would you see that coming down the future to help get the patterns to hold up a little bit longer?
I don't know that will change. I don't know that something like that will happen. I mean, with urethane going to 78 hardness, yeah, you can use more surface. You can make it hook early. Well, you can make a hurley, but you're not going to create angle down lane. And that's what the softness of the bowling balls do. It helps create angle down lane. And that's why you're able to throw, the purple ball, the pitch blacks, all those, because they are a little bit softer, they do create a little bit more shape down lane. And that's why you're able to throw urethane as long as you do. If you're getting a ball it's going to be like throwing plastic balls. I mean, who's putting surface on plastic balls and throwing those? Nobody, because they create no angle down lane. They're too hard. And I don't see that really becoming a huge issue. Don't get me wrong. There might be some people. I mean, one of the guys you mentioned a while ago, Jacob Buttriff, clearly he throws a lot of urethane.
Yep.
Jesper Svensson throws a lot of urethane. That Packy Hanrahan. I mean, all those guys, you might see them use urethane more than anybody else, but I think, you're going to eliminate urethane from a lot of players by doing it. You're not going to eliminate it completely. And I don't think that's what they want. But you are going to take it out of a lot of people's hands. I already don't like throwing urethane. So now those guys who aren't generating crazy amount of rev rates and so much angle with, urethane, like the guys that I just mentioned, I think they're going to have to find a way to make reactive work. And there are ways to make reactive work. It's just now they're going to have to go through that learning process of, okay, what works, what drillings work, what surfaces work, what types of balls work to get it to do something similar to what urethane does, but it's not going to tear up the lanes like urethane does.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, we may see an increase, like you said, layout surfaces, maybe short pin layouts to mimic some of that urethane, different stuff like that. So, I mean, like you said, learning curve, guys that have been using it a long time might switch. Guys might be a little bit stubborn and try to make it work a little bit longer until they maybe kind of convert over. And it'll be real curious to see exactly what happens. And I'm curious to see what happens with USB-C on this. I mean, I'll be curious if they kind of adopt kind of what the PBA is doing, or if they decide to kind of branch out and do something different, or you never know. So when it comes to that, so
I'm sure it'll be really, really close, if not identical. I mean, I think it's the right direction to try and control it. You can't just come out and say, we're banning urethane, you can't throw it. That's hard to do. And I think the reason why they put the 2-year rule in is because you can't just ban urethane. So at that point, it's got to be new urethane. Well, you're going to try and make the balls be newer as well. It's just kind of to offset everything, try and keep everybody kind of happy, if you want to say, and to where it's not affecting one player, one company, or anything like that. That's just probably was the easiest and best way to try and handle that situation, because making these, and I know Chad Murphy has gotten completely reamed by a lot of people of some of the decisions he's made. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I agree with everything, but that's a tough position to be in.
Right.
To make drastic changes like that. And that's a tough one, especially when you're the leader of the group. Doesn't mean 10 people didn't get together to make this decision, but when you're the leader, that's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with that. And so it's not a job that everyone would want, I'm sure, just because I'm sure it's a high pressure job when those big decisions have to get made. Absolutely. So. So yeah, getting back to the Bowl of the Pros event, what is there anything that you would like to tell anyone going to their first event like this? Like if you're going to take just one thing out of the event, what is something you would like to tell someone? Like, this is the one thing I would like for you to get out of it.
Like I said, I mean, these events, when you get this many professionals at an event like this, the biggest thing is to have a good time. I know we have, 2-hour coaching lesson, and then we have a pro-am afterwards. So yeah, you're going to pick up on some stuff. If there's something the biggest thing I guess I would say, don't be afraid to talk to us. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If there's something you're specifically looking for, let us know. We're there to help. We're there to have a good time. And that's what it's all about. So just, ask questions and be open, be coachable, and have fun. That's the main key.
Absolutely. And no matter what you do, it's what I tell people. If you're not having fun doing it, why do it at all? And bowling should be fun. And, obviously you want to learn and get better and improve. but, just being with some of the legends of the game. These coaches are there to help you. They're there to make your game better and to make your experience enjoyable. So definitely soak in the whole moment. I think that's just great advice for people to have a good time going there doing it.
Yeah, if you don't have a good time at this event, I will be extremely disappointed and shocked.
Absolutely. So, Wes, I know you're a super, super busy guy. I really appreciate you taking some time with us here tonight. Is there anything else you would like to touch on? Anyone, any shout outs you want to give or anything like that while we have you on the air?
Not really. I know, I think we kind of touched on a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
you mentioned I'm busy. I know we've been trying to make this happen and get this to work the last couple of weeks. I apologize personally to you that we haven't been able to make it work, but glad we were able to make it work tonight. And I'll say again, if you have any requests or if you want to have me on again before the event, just reach out. I'll be glad to try and make it work if I can, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I really, really appreciate all that you do on and off the lanes, and good luck with the rabbits and the fairs and all that stuff. So that should be a different adventure in life going forward. But absolutely, I'll definitely reach out again, and we'll be down in Portland here for the PBA event. We'll be me and Levi, Ding Dong, I should say, King Ding Dong. We'll be kind of around. We'll be at the lanes. Obviously, we'll see you there. Would love to just have a beverage with you, grab something to eat, hang out, talk, and shoot the breeze. Be a good time.
Absolutely. Anytime. Appreciate it very much.
All right. Well, thank you very much to Wes Malott for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you on the Frankie and Ding Dong Show with the Fridays with Frankie. Wes, thank you again. And you and your family have a very wonderful evening and a great weekend.
Appreciate it again. Take care.
All right. That was Wes Malott, everyone. Thank you very much to Wes for joining us this evening. And wow, what a great time, what a great guy, and we can't ask for anything better. So thank you everyone for joining us on a Fridays with Frankie. That's what we got for you this evening. Thank you for joining us, and everyone that tuned in tonight, we really appreciate you. We can kind of give a few shout outs while I got this on the air here. Let me kind of go through a few things. The Bowl of the Pros event is on September 21st. There is a limited drawing. You go online right now. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. And there it is. There's your information. So I really appreciate everything everyone's doing. Sean, thank you so much for organizing this. Get into that drawing, sign up, and then you can get into that event. We really appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Thank you to Wes and for taking the time with us. And we're going to hopefully get some more of these guys on with us so you can ask some questions, see them live, and kind of get it going. So really appreciate everyone tonight. I'll be on the air again next week with another Fridays with Frankie show. And maybe we'll get something on the air before then. PBA League Draft is Tuesday. Maybe I can get some guys on before then for a last-ditch effort for guys that might want to get drafted. Let's get some coverage for some of these guys here. You know what? Let's get as many guys on the air as we can. These pros deserve the exposure. They're the best in the world. Make sure that we take care of those guys. So I am Frankie Aberlon. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Good night.